Empower 11, the best of its kind in a highly transformative time. Are you empowered? Ready to turn your life up to 11? Awaken the life of who you are on the inside to match the life you were meant to live on the outside. Empower 11. Now is your time.
Power 11 Radio. Greetings and welcome to Empower 11 Radio. Today is November 7th, 2012. I think this is our 31st show. And we come to you every Wednesday for this live 1-hour show. For more information, you can check us out at empower11.com. That's EMPOWER, the number 1.com. And you are either checking us out right now on Spreaker, which is the platform that we come to you on, or you're listening to us archived on iTunes. You can also check our Empower Wealth album out that is on iTunes and Amazon. Amazon, you can order it physically. They'll physically ship the CD to your door. And we love to hear your feedback. We love to get your input. So if you have an idea for a show, any questions you want to ask us, make sure you email us. The email address is info@empower11.com. And you can always check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/empower11. And
hit the like button, then you can stay in the know of what's going on with Empower 11.
Right. So sitting next to me is my beautiful and talented co-host, Ann Ribley.
Yes. Hello there, Jack Voorhees. And sitting next to me is this creative genius, and he's in his creative jeans, which look like tattered jeans with many holes in it. And so he's going to be in full-on creative mode today.
Yeah, I dressed up for today's show. Today, it's a good show. I mean, I believe we really kind of, when we were going over this, we really came up with some pretty cool stuff. But, last night was the election. Yesterday we voted.
In the president, yes.
Yes, and the president won over Romney. And, it's just a pretty cool thing that so many people turned out to vote, and that we have the right to vote in this country. And a lot of countries don't have this. And, it's interesting to watch children's perspectives, too. The boys came home and they're all talking about the election they had at school, and so-and-so said this, and so-and-so said that, and this person won, and, this was the vote, and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic because we're going to talk about the power of perspective, and what a great opportunity to investigate and have this conversation about the power of perspective after a day that happens in history here in the United States, where people who could have different perspectives about what the outcome of this election was. It's really interesting when you look on Facebook, even like the ranges of reactions and perspectives that there is.
Yeah. I just read one woman that's lived in Flint, Michigan all her life, and she's thinking about leaving the country, is what she wrote about that. I mean, that was her perspective, that it could get so bad now that, she's going to actually move out of Flint, but not just move out of Flint, but move out of the whole country.
Which is interesting because Flint is one of the most violent cities in the state, isn't it true? It's one of God's.
Oh yeah, I mean, they shut down all the plants, and there's nothing going on there. Unfortunately, I mean, it's just not. I mean, most of the people moved out. There's hardly anybody left, but she was one of them. and now she's saying she's going to leave the country, but I doubt that to be true.
Well, it was interesting. My son said to me today, because of the way the vote went yesterday in school, and who won in his school was the opposite of what one of his other students wanted. And he said he was going crazy yesterday that his choice of president lost. And so then he said today, I wonder how he's going to be in school today, because it was still the same outcome. And
so we're here in Santa Barbara County, California, and one of the things on the ballot that we voted on was about food labeling.
Yeah, but the proposition regarding food labeling and being able to disclose whether something was genetically modified or not in the foods that we eat.
So the food manufacturers came up with they spent a fortune on these ads because they don't want to disclose what's in the food and how it's manufactured and everything. So
they had an advertising budget of $48 million to fight against this proposition on food labeling.
Just here in California. So we got bombarded with these ads, and these ads just said things like, "It's just wrong." 37? No, that's just wrong. There was no real argument that they made, but they just kept saying it over and over. So people got the perspective that it was wrong, and they voted it. They voted it down.
And what's crazy is that the people, which is more of just a grassroots of people wanting to have accurate food labeling, is what got it on the ballot, and they only had 9 million and used basically social media to try to create some awareness on this proposition. Mm-hmm. So they were that effort was definitely outmuscled by corporate America.
Right. So I'd like to start with a story about perspective. We're going back a couple years now. About 3 years ago, my son, he was having a really hard time in school, and it was a big issue with us, that he wasn't. I mean, he's a smart kid, and I know a lot of parents say, "Oh, my kid's so smart," but if he was a C student, I would have accepted that, but. The kid was at an early age. He was modifying Xboxes and, doing all this, these things that really showed how intelligent that he actually was. And, he was getting really bad grades. I mean, he actually got a fail, an F on or an E or whatever that they're giving. And it was this was a really big deal for us with him. And then shortly thereafter, he had a appointment with, he's had some back issues. He's had some health stuff go on, and they told him that he was going to have steel rods, 2 large steel rods, put all the way up and down his spine. And that they were going to have to fuse all of his vertebrae together. And after getting that news, I could give a damn about his grades. There was a different perspective there, and it was all about just his health and
his well-being.
Yeah, and this operation would have. Caused him to have a physical disability that he wouldn't be able to turn, twist his spine, and a big deal of the recovery time and everything that took, and it really changed my whole view of what was important at that point. And to go beyond that, the first thing I wanted was a second opinion. And it's amazing how few people actually get a second opinion.
Well, so really what is perspective? It's how we're processing the world. It's the way that we're choosing to see something. And there's that that really changed the perspective of like how you were processing wherever the world was with your son, and it put it in a perspective of what was really your true values and the truth of it for him, and it's his well-being and his health. And then it's interesting, there's the other perspective, is that when something happens, people don't give themselves a more open, expanded perspective to come from. Like if someone gets diagnosed with something or someone gets told something that feels devastating, that feels harmful or hurtful or disappointing, there's the possibility of, in like the case that you had there, Jack, a second opinion or another viewpoint or another perspective, another expanded version we can look at to...
Yeah, so I ended up taking him to a couple more doctors, in fact, leading specialists in that area. And the next 3 specialists that we saw all said that he did not need to have that operation. That was just way overboard for what for what was going on with his back and everything. And I even talked to a friend I knew in the medical industry who's he's all into the medical billing practice and everything, and he said, "Oh, that operation is on a huge incline right now because it's so profitable. There's so much money in it." And it just really made me step back. And I know there's just so many people that just take that first word, that they just, not just from a doctor's perspective, but in general in life, that they get this information, and the way they process it is, oh, this is it. That's it. Instead of staying open to what could possibly be, and that maybe that isn't the answer.
Well, I think this happens with not only specifically let's say health issues, but I think it happens in general in life.